Agreed to meet a vampire at a cemetery. How much more cliché can you get?
Nothing comes readily to mind.
Could have left the door unlatched.
What of my privacy? I value it rather deeply. Unmolested, especially by unwanted guests, that's my preferred state. Besides, I knew you'd find a way to get in.
True enough. Need to find your friend. I'm hoping you'll agree to help.
I shall do whatever's in my power. Yet what you want or even need must matter little. What matters is what Dettlaff wants. If he does not wish to be found, you will not find him. Ever. End of story.
Come on. Gotta be some way.
Vampires can evade detection by the senses, and no divination magic works on us. Even the most precise megascope would be useless.
And this? Could this help?
Wherever did you get that?
Off one of the beast's victims, found by a bend in the river. Body was chopped in pieces. 3 of those pieces were hands. Hand with the ring seemed the odd one out. Abruxa had taken an interest in it.
¿A qué huele? ¿A la mano de tu amigo Manolo que ibas a comprar pan con él o qué? ¿Ese anillo? Parece el anillo de la serpiente codiciosa del Dark Souls, ¿eh? ¿Sí?
It's Dettlaff's hand, without a doubt. It will do splendidly.
¿Para qué quieres usar la mano? Bueno, este quiere hacer una pajilla. ¿Cuál es la procedencia del anillo? No puedes invocar al Flav.
The hand. What do you plan to do with it?
You've heard of Kovinaris' theory of tissue memory retention.
Rings a distant bell. Read about it in Alchemia Oblitera. There's a copy at Kaer Morhen, tattered, nearly disintegrated. But if memory serves, Kovinaris never managed to prove it worked.
He did prove it, just never managed to publish his findings. He and I corresponded, you see, after we became friends. Thus, I know he completed his research and performed the first tests. It's complicated, so without delving into details, it is possible to use any piece of tissue to reconstruct what a whole body experienced.
How's it work? We need any special equipment?
We must brew a decoction which Kovinaris gave a rather poetic name, resonance. Once imbibed, it sends one into a trance similar to that induced by narcotics. This triggers visions of events linked to strong emotions experienced by the tissue's owner. Picture it as dreaming.
Vamos, que vamos a ver su pasado a través del tejido de un tío. Qué guay.
Indeed. Though I also hope resonance will reveal the location of Dettlaff's hideout.
Ring's pretty intriguing. Made of no metal I've ever seen. And the ornamentation.
It comes from our home, where we lived before the conjunction of spheres. It's actually mine. I received it from a dear old friend. You might call him a humanist. He saw us vampires as guests here, guests who owe their hosts, meaning you humans and the elder races, respect.
Respect? Meaning not to treat us like cattle to be slaughtered for food?
Precisely. And the reason why I in turn gave it to Dettlaff. To remind him of the ideals my old friend championed.
Can't you just summon Dettlaff? You're both hired vampires, there's gotta be a way.
If I'm to be entirely candid, there is indeed one. But believe me, we will be better off never availing ourselves of it. It is a last resort. Absolutely.
Last resort? The hell? Why?
There is a being who can summon Dettlaff. Possesses the authority, even the power, to force him to appear in a given place. But the very act of contacting this being, well, it's akin to walking a slack line extended over a chasm filled with molten lava. An exercise as perilous to me as it would be to you. A risk I'm unwilling to take. I beg you, let's do it my way. It will be both quick.
Te voy a hacer caso, Regis, pero por los viejos tiempos, ¿eh? Por los viejos tiempos.
Kovinaris spent half his life proving his theory. Wild guess. Making a dose of resonance won't be easy.
You guessed correctly. In addition to Dettlaff's tissue, we shall need a powerful occipital lobe stimulant. Effectively a poison, to make one susceptible to visions.
Well, got a few ingredients to choose from. Unfortunately, all are pretty rare. There's mamoon glands, but closest ones I know of are in Vizima. A spotted white saliva would also serve, but they were cold to extinction over a century ago. Could go with a kobold's eyes, but the creatures are sentient. Rather not gouge one's eyes out.
Given that we lack the time to sleuth this out ourselves, permit me to summon some help.
Algo de ayuda. Aquí. Aquí. Aquí se mueve la mano y hace un corte de manga. Hace. Míralo. Quedaría bien, que hiciese un corte de manga. O los cuernos de heavy metal ahí. Y ahora se abres la puerta, ¿no, cabronazo? Y yo tengo que bajar por ahí y matar a Kikimoras. Jódete. ¿Quién es tu amiguito el cuervo?
What was that?
A raven? Rather a common sight at this latitude. Very intelligent fowl. I asked him to look for the creatures you mentioned, him and his brethren. Perhaps they'll find one in the area, and I would hazard that a flock of ravens will spy any said creature faster than a solitary witcher would, with all due respect to your skills, my friend. It will take them some time, nonetheless, so perhaps you'd care for a snifter of mandrake.
¿Qué pirata estás hecho? Te quiero, Regis. ¿Cómo me conoce, eh?
Rarely say no to a snifter.
Eso te iba a decir, digo, qué raro que a Geralt le den la opción de rechazar que va a beber, o sea, eso no lo haría nunca.
Remember your mandrake hooch. Made people say things they'd have rather kept to themselves.
Now, what could Geralt of Rivia prefer to keep to himself?
Parece que no has querido entenderme. No quiero hablar. Es una trampa. Intentas conseguir que confíes algo. Tengo muchos secretos.
Everyone's got some secret.
I agree wholeheartedly. I also believe it wise at times to share one's secrets, unburden oneself to those one can trust.
This your sophisticated way of asking me if I trust you?
I prefer almost always to ask you directly. It seems a test of intelligence, one you just passed.
Maybe you should go first. Reveal one of your secrets.
Dice una prueba que acabas de superar porque ha bebido.
Vampires lead very interesting lives.
Anything in particular interest you?
Tal vez será mejor que hable más tarde. Tal vez algo lo quieras preguntarme en concreto. ¿Dónde has estado? ¿Qué has estado haciendo? Esto mola, porque aquí le vamos a poder sacar bastante información a Regis sobre su vida. ¿Me entendéis? Que esto es buena idea, la verdad. Para quien no entendáis el personaje. ¿Cómo es la regeneración? ¿Cómo llevas la abstinencia de no beber sangre? ¿Cómo es estar muerto? ¿Dónde has estado? ¿Qué has estado haciendo? No sé, podríamos preguntarle mil cosas. Creo que le voy a preguntar todo. Venga, vamos a preguntarle todo.
Always fascinated me the way vampires can regenerate. A hand growing back is one thing, but Detloff recreating you out of a wet smear, something else entirely.
A difficult and laborious process, but one that's possible, as my presence proves. But I've heard you too had quite the adventure. They say you lost your memory.
For a bit. But Triss helped me get it back. Actually, pretty damn lucky I only had amnesia.
Yes, you humans are rather buggered in those terms. To strip you of life is, well, it's just plain easy. I've always pitied you in that regard. We vampires are much harder nuts to
Debería saber que yo no soy humano,
If a member of
humano,
another
como
race
tal.
kills one of us, we can be reborn with a living higher vampire's help. However, if one of our own strikes the deadly blow, death is permanent. There can be no rebirth. One of the chief reasons why vampires long ago swore never to fight one another.
Got a new life, new body. That give you a new start, blank slate.
Starting all anew is a
Regis no bebe sangre, ¿vale? Creo que ya lo expliqué.
Your blood
Lo
addiction,
dejó de
say.
hacer hace bastante tiempo.
Wondering if your body's
Pasa
the
en el
same,
libro una cosa
but
y
still
pasa.
remembers. Maybe if you drank now, you wouldn't get hooked.
All addictions are a form of slavery. Re-addiction's not a risk I'm willing to take, just to test a hypothesis about corporeal regeneration and whether propensities carry over.
Fair enough. Curiosity, that's all. Sorry.
Not to worry, Geralt. Curiosity is a natural reaction under the circumstances, apart from which I've always valued that trait in you.
Gotta ask you the big question, one everyone wonders about. What happens after death?
You wish me to tell you if the human belief in the gods is well founded? Well, that I do not know. We vampires differ exceedingly from you humans. Our matter, that of which we are composed, can exist without form. We require neither a heart, nor a brain, nor air to breathe.
But were you dead?
As humans understand death, yes.
Feel anything? Understand anything?
It's rather hard to explain. I felt something very unsettling. Something I cannot even name, for I did no reasoning. Only after rebirth did I begin to understand that what I had felt was cold and unimaginable fear. If not for Detlef, I might have drowned in an eternity of icy terror.
Can't have been alive then. Sheesh, experience like that must be vicious.
Indeed, it's hard to compare to anything I know. Yet you are aware we don't see death as you do. The way you cling to life, we find it entirely peculiar. You are mortals, ergo it's a foregone conclusion. You will die. It's but a question of time. Thus, I often find myself wondering why you try so very hard. To die at 20 years, 40, even 100, what's the difference? They're all but the blink of an eye.
Depends on your point of view. Man who's got 1,000,000 crowns to spend can't possibly understand one who's only got 20.
Very true. One's outlook can indeed change much.
No, un tío que vive miles de años, pues evidentemente 50, 20, 30 años le parece una mierda. Y por eso dice que se aferra a la vida. Coño, pues si tú vivieses eso, pues evidentemente lo verías desde otra perspectiva, como dice Geralt.
Curious what you did after you were reborn.
As I'm sure you can surmise, at first I was thoroughly absorbed with recovering. As it is, I've still not recovered completely. Yet I was so weak the first year that I could not stand or move on my own. Detlef bore my weakness bravely, showed great patience. If not for him, I wouldn't be here, and I'd have regenerated far slower. Once I could at last stand unassisted, I set off for Bruges, for my one-time home of Dillingen. There I led the peaceful life of a rural healer and surgeon, enjoying my neighbours' respect and, in fact, constituting the exact opposite of the monstrous vampire the populace imagines.
Bruges, you say? Rebirth make you sentimental?
Perhaps a dash. But what of you? Where have you been? Ever find your Cyrilla?
Sí. Sí que la encontré.
Back then, yeah. But we parted again soon after. And when the time was ripe, she came back. Defeated the wild hunt together.
Ooh. Seems I certainly missed quite a bit while I was absent.
True enough. But it's a conversation we'll have another time. Need to know more about you now.
Hay una cosa bastante guay de Cyrilla y cuando pasa todo lo de Vilgefortz en el libro, que él acaba hecho mierda, básicamente contra una columna. O sea, lo que hace básicamente es le tira contra una columna y lo deja ahí como con fuego, creo que era fuego blanco, una mierda así, y lo deja ahí pegado, ¿sabes? A la columna, derritiéndose, una masa de sangre totalmente. Y entonces todo el mundo piensa que muere. Entonces surge la teoría de que no está muerto precisamente a partir de Cyrilla y de su poder de regeneración del tío, ¿no? Porque Ciri, después de toda la batalla y todo el rollo, dice que siente las almas o algo así, o los espíritus de todos los héroes que han muerto en esa batalla, de muchos de ellos. Y entonces, claro, empieza a decir el otro, hay varios, ¿vale? Hay como unos 4 o 5 que mueren. Pero no dice el de Regis. Entonces de ahí sale la teoría de que ella, al no sentir el espíritu o el alma de Regis como muerto, todo el mundo decía que esa era la teoría, que podía ser que Regis estuviese vivo por el tema de la regeneración. Y todo viene a través del tema de Cyrilla, de que no le siente.
All right, give you one question. What do you want to know?
One question to ask one as fascinating as you, Geralt. Cruel parsimony, I'd say, but I shall do my best to make it count.
El tío le admira.
If you were to die and be reborn as I was, in your new life, would you choose to be a Witcher?
Supongo que ¿Vosotros qué creéis? ¿Que sí? Yo creo que el Geralt del libro diría que no. Pero este del videojuego diría que sí. Y diréis vosotros, pues si son el mismo. En realidad no. En realidad no. De hecho, el mismo escritor del libro, Sawatsky, dijo que en el videojuego no está captada la esencia de Geralt. ¿Vale? A él no le gusta mucho cómo lo han captado. Yo creo que sí. Y casi todos los lectores pensamos que sí, que hemos jugado y hemos leído los libros. Pero sí que es cierto que aquí es, ¿cómo decirlo? Más atractivo, más heroico en algunos aspectos, teniendo en cuenta que en el libro es mucho más antihéroe totalmente. Tiene la misma personalidad en el juego que en el... Yo diría que lo que hace que Geralt sea muy parecido al libro es que tiene la misma personalidad. Está muy bien captada la personalidad de Geralt del libro aquí, trasladada. Pero aquí en el juego es como que a él lo adoran más. Es como un héroe para todo el mundo y no sé qué. No sé, para... Otros le temen, sí, pero eso se nota mucho menos que todo lo que se nota, lo heroico que puede llegar a ser o lo que inspira a la gente, ¿sabes? Alrededor del videojuego. O sea, a todos nos encanta Geralt, ¿no? Y a la gente con la que nos cruzamos en el juego y todo el rollo, ¿no? Los NPCs y todo. Pues algunos dicen el brujo, no sé qué, algunos tienen miedo, no sé qué. Y eso lo han hecho un poco como para mostrar lo que pasaba y el rechazo que le hacían, que hacían sobre su manera o sea, su raza, vamos a dejarlo ahí, su raza, que en realidad es un humano, mutante, pues sobre sobre los brujos en el libro, ¿no? Ese rechazo, ese no sé qué, no sé cuánto, pero realmente en el libro se muestra mucho más cruel y mucho más duro que en el videojuego. Aquí es un poco, este tío es el puto amo, ¿vale? Entonces quizás sea eso. Entonces yo creo que aquí en el juego, por eso os digo, diría que sí, y en el libro diría que no. Esa es mi... Quien haya leído los libros y haya jugado los juegos, evidentemente, yo creo que pensará como yo. ¿A que sí? Seguramente algunos podáis comentar sobre esto, pero yo creo que Geralt no sería nunca un... No volvería, no le gustaría ser brujo. Él sufrió mucho, por ser brujo. Mucho, 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 mucho. Sobre todo de pequeño, muchísimo. Y muchas veces ha tenido que tragarse unas muy gordas. Y callarse y morderse la lengua. Sí.
See, Regis. Doubt I'd know how to be anything else.
Ever tried?
See, you're determined to get an answer, to find out if I like being a witcher. Just refuse to ask directly, as always. I like being on the path. I like picking up a lead, a trail. I like the tension right before a fight. And nothing gets my adrenaline flowing like battling a beast. Even gotten used to people treating me like a freak, an outcast. Yeah, not something I think about much, but I like being a witcher.
No has dicho nada acerca de las mujeres, pero...
Honesty is an attribute of the truly brave, and thus a privilege of the very few.
Still no sign of your winged friend. Sure it understood what you wanted?
Dead certain. Let's wait a bit longer. It'll return soon, don't doubt that for a moment.
Bueno, mola esto, de hablar con Regis aquí en plan tranquilo, colega.
Ever vigilant, even in his sleep. Quite vampire-like, in fact. Are you absolutely certain they don't administer a few of our genes during the trial of the grasses?
Appreciate the compliment. Got something for me?
You were right. No kobolds or mamoons for miles around.
Knew it.
Allow me to finish. You see, there's this spotted white. It haunts an abandoned residence in the Caraberta woods.
Impossible. My brethren hunted down every last spotted white before I was born.
Then it seems you must revise your knowledge of spotted whites. For somehow this one managed to survive your brethren's onslaught.
Hostia.
It seems
Una bestia que no conocemos.
recall a tale about it.
Porque ya las
Locals
terminaron
believe
los
the place
brujos.
cursed. Perhaps that's how the whites survived entirely unmolested.
Whites rarely appear in the woods, even less likely to find them in abandoned human homes. They inhabit remote wildernesses, old abandoned cemeteries.
What's your point?
This might not be a spotted white after all. Your little helper might have made a mistake.
I sincerely doubt it. Ravens are devilishly intelligent creatures, and they've highly developed...
Sí, ¿por qué no hablan? No te jode.
What exactly did they observe?
The area around the estate, it's covered in spoons.
Spoons.
Spare me the skeptical smile. I'm but the bearer of this news. Or perhaps this spotted white is a hoarder. Or the spoons are somehow related to the
¿En
curse.
serio?
Know anything else about this curse?
I
A lo
don't
mejor le gusta
recall
mucho la
much in
sopa.
particular. Really don't attach much importance to such things. It was mentioned to me as an anecdote, no more.
Come on, search your memory. Something, anything could be important.
I believe it had a relation to hunger, or perhaps greed, rapacity. Someone was punished for something.
Textbook definition of a curse, pretty much.
Sorry, Geralt, I try not to clutter my mind with the details of every far-fetched tale I happen to hear. What are your thoughts?
A specimen of a species thought long extinct, and a curse in one place. That a coincidence, or are they related?
Ah, professional curiosity. Personally, I've nothing against you delving into this dilemma, but please remember we need the white's saliva. Nothing beyond that.
Hombre, supongo que si los brujos la exterminaron, los brujos matan bestias y criaturas y diablos y monstruos y de todo, ¿no? Pero solamente no lo hacen por placer, sino que lo hacen para salvar a los humanos. Al fin y al cabo es una medida de los humanos, de los brujos, los propios humanos crearon los brujos. Entonces son para cazar a las peligrosas. Entonces, si solo necesitamos la saliva, igual no la tenemos que matar. Aunque no sabemos cómo de peligrosa es, porque yo no sé qué
Let's
coño
do
es una
this.
criatura moteada.
Start making your decoction while I go get some saliva from that white. Uses it in its brews.
Do you imagine the white will simply sell you some?
Worst case scenario, I'll bring you its salivary glands. They ought to do as well.
For a moment there, I imagined you asking the white to spit into a vial. Quite amusing as a thought, but the salivary glands will do fine indeed.
So, see you later.
No,
Yes,
muchas gracias,
till
Alex.
later. I shall start
Poco mórbidos a veces.
using some tomes.
Tomes? Thought you were gonna make this decoction.
We require one last ingredient. Alas, obtaining it could prove a trifle toilsome. Thus, I hope to identify a suitable alternative.
All right. Good luck.
And to you, my friend.
Cómo mola el personaje de Regis, me encanta. En el libro era uno de mis favoritos, tío. Vale, pues... A ver. Busca la guarida de la criatura. Hostia, ¿dónde puede estar la puta criatura esta? No, está cerca de aquí. No me jodas, otra puta pantera, tío. ¿Qué coño pasa con las panteras en esta zona? ¿Me vas a dejar en paz o...? Podría montarme en sardinilla e irme. Oh, me da a mí que no, que ya me ha visto. Vamos, mira, salto ha pegado, tío. Tengo un problemilla, macho. No tengo... Madre mía, hostia, me va a dar. Fijar enemigo. Es que no me lo fija, tío. Solo funciona con el teclado. Vale. Restablecer valores restablecidos. Nah, no me fijo. No sé por qué, pero me ha desaparecido el fijado enemigo. ¡Dios! Cómo mola, crítico, 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 crítico. Claro, pues que tampoco me hace falta para jugar el fijado de enemigos, pero a veces te ponen las cosas más cómodas. Sobre todo en 1 contra 1 y tal. Vamos a llamar a Sardinilla, sí. Sardinilla, ¿dónde estás? Ven aquí.
Come on, Roach.
Fiel cordel. ¿Dónde estamos? ¿Esto qué es? Francolar. Francolartis. Vaya nombre, tío, con pueblo.
Diddly snips! My back aches something horrid! Greetings.
bandages.
What's that about?
No, ¿qué te ha pasado, macho? A ver.
The dressings, bandages. Where did I put them?
Forget it. Bandages won't do him any good.
What? Oh, but he breathed still a moment ago.
Mm-hmm. Breathed his last then. Bled to death. Legs broken. Femoral arteries ruptured. Wound like that, you're dead in minutes.
Gods.
What happened here exactly?
I was rolling through, fully loaded, when I heard screams. This one crawled towards the road, then drooped to the ground, lost consciousness. I jumped down to help him, dress his wounds. Then you appeared.
Qué raro.
Stand and step away from him.
What? Me? But what is your grief?
Don't make me say it again. That's good advice.
Will you tell me what it is you seek?
Needed to see if you were lying. You'd be covered in blood if you dealt those wounds. Just got it on your hands, though, so all's in order.
Who might you be, precisely?
A witcher.
Oh.
Trago
Do
saliva.
you expect some beast might have killed him?
Me da igual, adiós. A ver,
See what we
el juego
have
ahí, a
here.
ver qué hago.
Legs broken, but cause of death's the wound. Small but deep, edges unfrayed. Either a thrust weapon or a thick claw. Maybe a wyvern's. Tough to say, and... breastplate's unusual. Dented. It's got a patina.
An antiquity, I believe. I deal in these things, so... what's puzzling is... why did he done it?
Not likely to learn that from him. Now to figure out where he came from. From that house, I'm assuming, but need to investigate. Got some work to do. So long.
Vamos a ver de qué nivel es la misión, pues si no, no lo hago.
Wait, I will come with you.
¿Me tomas el pelo? Venga, va.
So be it. But stay close, keep it down, and don't touch a thing.
Recreación histórica. Sigue el rastro de un hombre asesinado con dispositivo de brujo. A ver. Uy, perdón. Misiones. Es 40, vale.
Trail leads to the house on the hill.
Which stands silent as a grave.
Must have been here he broke his legs. Fell while climbing over the wall. Trying to leave the property probably, after he didn't manage to open the gate. Damn it.
Hostia.
Good
Que era,
gods!
no era el único que ha muerto.
What the hell's this? Setting for a banquet?
It seems so. What's your suspicion? Did none survive? Gods!
Servant. Stabbed to death. Over a dozen blows with a sharp object. Some post-mortem.
I cannot believe this is the work of a man. It was a monster, to be sure.
Silver tableware. Elven engravings.
Lo que no ha sido es un robo, eso está claro. Porque...
Torso punctured with great force. Blow pierced hardened steel. Man on the high road. Breastplate was identical. Throats massacred. One mighty blow. Shield along sides old and dented. Sword ceremonial. And Shea handiwork clearly. Ceremonial bowls. For little sacrifices.
Of what? Please, do not say humans.
Burn marks. Something catch fire. Explode. Strong stench. Multiple wounds on the body. All puncture wounds, but hard to tell what caused them. Victim's human, but the attire's elven.
Are you certain? How did he come by it? We've so few non-humans in Tucson.
Fled, then dropped to the ground to douse the flames. Didn't manage. Burnt smells growing fainter. Might have been another luckier soul managed to flee.
Ojo, ¿Puede ser un hombre lobo?
Perhaps there's no one inside after.
I know you're in there. Breathing's loud and clear. Open up. We mean you no harm.
They remain there?
Listen, I'm a witcher. I'm here to help you. But if that's gonna happen, you gotta answer some questions first. Who are you exactly?
Durant Faucher Plamonton de Safaran, Lord of these lands, and Chairman of the Society of Friends of the History of Tucson. We meet here annually to mark the anniversary of the Elfin
Claro, por
homage.
eso llevaban
Something like this.
las armaduras conmemoriales
Right,
esas.
First,
You mentioned them. Who do you mean?
those, I don't know what they were, spirits. It all occurred of a sudden.
¿Espíritus?
We were staging a scene, the death of paying homage. There was a flash of light that blinded me completely. I heard cries, though saw nothing. Then felt my own robes were in flames. I broke and ran, threw off my doublet, leapt in here, and it shut and locked the door behind me. They pounded on the door. I thought they would get through. I thought I was done for, but in the end, it grew calm.
So while reenacting a scene from the past, somehow, unintentionally, you summoned a specter, a Korgorath, or a tube, maybe.
What? What now?
Best thing? You gotta do it again, of course.
Estás de coña, ¿no?
Would you have this thing kill us?
No, don't want it to kill anyone. Precisely why I gotta do my job. Summon it again, whatever it is, and tend to it once and for all. Durand, think I can reenact the pledge? The giving of homage, alone?
It was a great, momentous event. The surrender of Tucson's last elfin king. You will need at least 3 individuals.
Bueno, ¿estáis vosotros?
You know what I'm gonna ask for. Need your help. But I'll understand if you turn me down. No objections? Good.
Qué buenas personas.
Let's get to work.
Qué valientes.
Start by clearing
Sobre
the
todo
corpses.
para estar escondido detrás de la
Some time.
puerta.
Won't start the reenactment before nightfall. Things of this sort are a lot more likely to work after dusk. One last thing, though. My pay. Don't work for free, you know.
Understood. Just keep the danger at bay, and I shall be generous. Through and through.
Bueno. Encima nos van a pagar. ¡Cojonudo! Están guapas las misiones, ¿eh? A ver. Unas horas después. Veamos.
I will stand, or rather, sit in for King Ludovic upon the elfin throne, while you, Witcher, will play the Enche ruler. We must don the costumes. All must
Al
be
gobernante de
just
los elfos.
Divethaf, the Elven King, hosted Ludovic in his own palace upon his own throne, amidst the blinding glow of a plethora of torches.
Yo las entiendo con estilo, soy un brujo. Igual le quemo a alguno de estos el culo. Sin darme cuenta. Bueno, a ver, que no queme a este. Voy a encender gas.
Divethaf laid at Ludovic's feet a loaf of binnen and elfen bread.
Es una gafa de pan
granting humans
élfico.
rule over seat-yielding
Aquí.
lands. Defetha filled the ornate ceremonial bowls with elven wine. Gwynnoeth, the sweet long last, the elfin king grasped his sword and shield, thus symbolically passing command of his armies to humans.
Venga, llega el hijo. ¿Dónde está la espada, tío? ¿Cuál es? Estará aquí a lo mejor en misiones. Aquí está.
Elfin king, erect in his pride, drew his blade and dropped to his knees, thus acknowledging his
Interrumpas,
final
dice.
defeat.
Que yo que interrumpí.
Ludovic then spake.
A ver.
I accept your allegiance and shall return in 1 year's time to...
Ah! Look! Look! The statues!
Impossible! God's mother!
¡Hija de puta! ¡Hostia, hostia, hostia! ¿Estáis viendo? ¿Pero qué coño pasa? ¿Qué cojones pasa aquí? Ah, las hechiceras. ¡Dios! ¿Pero qué me estás contando? Que me han reventado, gente. Pegaba la espada, ¿eh? No estaba mal. Vale, vamos a ver. Vamos a ver. Entra en combate, gilipollas. Que te puedo mover, por lo menos. Toma. Vale, ya se ha ido. Voy a ponerme la ventisca cuanto antes. No sé si tirarme un extracto, tío. Vale, vamos bien, vamos bien. Voy a moverme hasta aquí. Vale, para atrás, a esta. Es que me pone estatua viviente, tócate los cojones. Ahora estoy jodido porque como no... Bien, bien, perfecto, bien, 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 bien. Para atrás, para atrás. Bien, lo hemos hecho bien. Vale, aquí lo que necesitamos es un orden. ¿Vale? Atrás, Geralt, no lo líes. ¡No! Uf, me ha bloqueado, tío. Me he cagado, ¿eh? Atrás, para atrás. Vamos. Dios, chaval. Qué asco de enemigos, ¿eh? Por los magos solamente.
They came alive. By what witchcraft?
Dunno. Specialize in killing monsters. Reviving them, not so much.
I may know what happened. The statues, you see, once stood in the palace of one Defethov. I acquired them a month past because perhaps I should start at the beginning. This Devethef was to pay tribute to humans, producing statues of this sort each year. Yet he did so but once, for he perished in the massacre of non-humans at the foot of Mount Gorgon in the year 782. It's fortunate he did too, as Devethef had planned Ludovic's downfall, for he sculpted not statues, but columns that masqueraded as such. Columns activated with words said in homage. Columns that would have turned the king and his bodyguards into so much colorful confetti.
Typical. Treachery embodied. Elves. Psheh.
You're no better. Elves were just defending their territory. You humans took it, but you still weren't sated. Had to cut the elves down, every last one.
You? What does that mean? You're a man as we are.
Yeah, in a way. Just ashamed to have to admit it sometimes.
Your words? They're wrong, Witcher. But I'll not let you leave empty-handed. Take this.
¡Yuhu!
Farewell.
Madre mía, chaval, la que salió aquí. Puta madre. Coño, se ha cerrado esto y me ha echado fuera. ¡Puta! Sardinilla. Volvemos a la senda. Me tengo que quitar esta puta espada de mierda. Espérate. Que me la he quedado, ¿no? Por lo que veo. Eso es otra cosa. ¿Qué es eso? Hostia, los boiras, las odio. Madre mía, qué asco me dan. ¿En serio voy a tener boiras aquí arriba? ¿Por aquí no puedo subir? Oh, putada. Vale, voy a alejarme un poquito. Ah, mierda. Tranquila, sardinilla, tranquila. La tengo bastante chetada como para que se asuste. Pero si se asusta le tiramos un axia. Joder, quiere saltar, Sam. Me cago en la puta, ¿qué está pasando aquí? Vámonos. Ahora nos acercamos aquí dentro. Vamos a salir primero, que pueda guardar partida. Y ahora voy ya andando y ya está. Bueno, gente, nos quedamos aquí, ¿de acuerdo? Mira, se están peleando entre ellos. Nos quedamos aquí, espero que os haya gustado, como siempre, y nos vemos en el próximo capítulo de The Witcher. Hasta pronto, chao.